Yeah. Once we get that hammered out, we're back. Until then, Big Brother.
Ooh,
Want to talk about some Big Brother? We like it. It wasn't a show that we'd really watched a lot.
I hadn't watched it prior.
Just to catch you up on a recent episode, I think this past Sunday's episode is when a lot of stuff went down that we want to dig into. Mm-hmm. Some controversial things. What happened
deal with it.
To begin the season? When they first show up in the house, there's a lot of beautiful people there, and they sort of form these relationships.
Mm-hmm. Showmance.
Yep. And two of the most attractive people in the house there's a girl named Erin, mm-hmm. Aaryn, and EY.
Yes.
And she's a college student, and she was sort of smitten with this guy David. What was it that David said when
he said that they felt a connection right off the bat.
Right off the back, they were sort of getting along, but Erin was blindsided.
And again, Erin spelled like Aryan.
Aryan, yes. She was sort of blindsided by an early vote where they had thought that Alyssa was going to be voted off, but it was actually there was a secret coalition that conspired to vote off David. And I'll let Gina Marie is one of the contestants. I'll let her sort of explain what happened.
Everyone told me, hey, the house, we're all going against Alyssa, right? I'm like, that's what I'm doing. Last minute, shocker, everything falls out of place into pieces.
And that's what it looked like when it went down.
Yeah, everything. She had the best laid plans. Sometimes they all fall into pizzas.
Yeah.
And that's what happened in this case. And so, Erin, everything's in pizzas around her. And as she is trying to figure out what happened, she's developed some negative relationships with people in the house. She's mad about David.
Yeah, she's just trying to pick up the pizzas and sort of figure out how things got to that state.
Yes.
But the way she's doing it, I guess, is
and
rubbing some people the wrong way.
The kind of puzzle pizzas together of like what actually went down in that vote. And so, in the process, she has said some things that have actually made the news a little bit that people have found offensive.
Yeah.
And Sean and I were watching the episode, and we saw some of the things that she said.
And we see a lot of reality TV. We see a lot of people painted in a negative light.
Yes, we've been in this business a long time. We know how, in the interest of making good TV, the producers will sometimes take things a little bit out of context.
It serves them to create a version of events where something is more incendiary than it really was. But let's go ahead and play some of it.
This is sort of a supercut they did on the show of some things that Erin has said.
That are, and I'm using finger quotes here, some offensive things.
Yeah, some offensive, yes.
Dude, shut up. Go make some rice.
Yo, that's rude. That is rude.
You look probably like a squinty Asian right now.
What if Andy ends up getting MVP?
No one's gonna vote for whoever that queer puts up.
Then Kansas is already on the dark side because she's already dark, so.
Be careful what you say in the dark. Might not be able to see the bitch.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell that is.
Probably dried rice. Looks like it.
Right. You want a crystal ball on your nail? Make you shine like the star in the sky. You look so pretty.
It could privy me to lose my temper, but that is a no-no in this game. I have to keep my eyes down the field for the bigger prize, winning this competition.
You say you want long nail. I try and help you. Why you don't have boyfriend? It's because you don't want long nail. It's only...
Okay. So, say when you play them all at once,
it starts to create a picture of a person who,
who maybe has some kind of racial bias against Asians. Maybe they're trying to say.
I think that's what they're implying.
Because she talked about one Asian woman. She was whispering like, "Shut up, go make some rice."
Shut up, go make some rice. Yeah.
And said of herself that she thought she just woke up. She looked like a squinty-eyed Asian.
Which, okay, and in that one, it's like, Well, she's talking about how she looks.
She's making fun of herself.
And she's a model.
Yeah.
So she's obviously not, like, trying to say something negative about her appearance.
Right. Or, how I took it was that it's like self-deprecating humor. She's saying, like, I probably look like a squinty Asian right now. Mm-hmm. She's not making fun of...
She's the butt of that joke.
She's turning
Asians
it on herself.
aren't the butt of that joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And when she said, shut up and go make rice, and then they play from a totally different day, I think, someone saying that's rude.
Yeah, exactly.
And I
making it seem like the whole house is turning on her.
What they're talking about when she's saying that's rude is probably that Asian bitch interrupted someone.
Right. Yeah.
Because she doesn't know her place in the house.
Right.
And so that's what I actually think that clip was from, and then they stick it on this other one.
Because you definitely don't
see PC.
You don't see her mouth moving.
No.
And like the that's rude.
No, it's from behind her head.
Right.
It's from behind her head.
And so now when you hear that that's rude, you're kind of like cued to think that that was maybe an offensive thing to say.
And in the house, you don't know what they have to eat or like what,
Maybe she was a have-not that week.
I'll tell you, if it was on Survivor, she's a have-not. They have very limited food options.
Sure.
She was on Survivor and somebody said, shut up and go make some rice. Well, you hear that 10 times a show probably.
That's what they eat. That's mostly eat rice.
That's what they're eating.
Yeah. Big Brother's also on CBS.
Yeah.
And what they sort of, another misleading thing is when they cut all those things together, it makes it sort of seem like she said those things all in a row.
Yeah.
When really they've been in the house for like 2 whole days.
Yeah.
At that point.
It's like that's spread out over a period of 48
at least 48 hours. So who knows how long between she says one of those things about Asians and then she takes like 12 hours where she doesn't say anything about Asian people.
And they make it seem like she's obsessed.
Yeah.
I mean, any one of us, if you cut together what we said about Asian people in a 48-hour period and lumped it all together, you could make it seem pretty damning.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's completely out of place in there is the impression that she does.
Yeah.
Which is...
I thought it was weird that they included that at all.
Well, it hurts their own case.
Yes, it does. That was a mistake.
Yes.
They have like 2 examples, and they say like, oh God, we need a third to kind of fill this out to really make it seem like a trend. Oh, this is something that she did that sort of vaguely has to do with Asian people. I
guess, but it's essentially a hilarious vaudeville comedy piece.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want... Here, we'll take away the accent as if she invented the accent and that's not how people really talk.
Yeah.
Okay? We'll get rid of it. You said you wanted long nails. I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
How come you don't have a boyfriend? Because you don't want long nails.
Yeah, because you don't want long nails.
Because you don't
I'll make your
nails
shiny like a star in the sky.
Yeah, you want nails like a crystal ball?
Yeah, exactly.
Shine like star in the sky?
Yeah, and when you separate the voice that she is doing from it, you say like, oh, that doesn't sound so bad. It's kind of a nice...
well, it's just a funny conversation. Like, just listen to this conversation again.
Yeah.
And just hear this. You said you want long nails. I'm trying to help you.
Right.
How come you don't have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, because you don't want long nails. I mean, that's just a classic joke structure.
Sure. And then to say that it's offensive that she's adding a voice to that is the way they sound.
She's not. If it wasn't how they sounded,
it's almost a little bit racist to take those words out of the mouth of an Asian person and give them to a white person. You know what I mean?
To do it without the accent is more offensive. What I did is more offensive.
Yes.
Because you're pretending that it's not there that people have accents.
Right.
What if she went to an Australian nail salon?
Sure.
Are we making this same big stink?
Right.
Oh, you say you want long nails, mate? I'm trying to help you. How come you don't have a boyfriend?
Right.
Hey, you don't have long nails, It's like, that's fucking not offensive.
No one would say a thing about that.
It's also funny. It's funny to do it that way, too.
But because she did it in the voice, how they actually sound, what they actually say.
Let's play it again, actually having context.
We've contextualized it for you, so listen to it again and see how it sounds now.
You say you want long nail. I try and help you. Why you don't have boyfriend? It's because you don't want long nail. It's only $4 more.
Not so bad.
Yeah.
When you've thought about it, when you actually like pay attention to the words,
It's not offensive at all.
we're just looking for things to get all up in arms about. We'll be right back. We have a guest. You've talked about our guest. We got an exciting guest.
John Cochran.
John Cochran. Winner of Survivor Caramoan and now a writer on CBS's The Millers. When we come back, we're going to talk about the challenge a little bit, and then we're going to bring on John Cochran on the reality show.
Have you heard about Ting, the new nationwide mobile service? If you have and you've made this...
Half of this is going right on the choppers. Right on the choppers.
Awful. It's the worst show I've ever seen. Would you agree with that?
No, Ready for Love is worse than that.
Yeah, Ready for Love was definitely worse. You're right. What else is on TV? Big Brother.
B-bro.
Exciting. I think there have been 15 episodes since we last talked about it.
Yeah.
I think this week they did the 2 Sunday shows, the Monday block.
Yeah, then they double dip Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah. And then Thursday's Big Brother Day on CBS, where it's all Big Brother all the time.
Yeah, they do the Thursday triples where every 3 hours they play 3 episodes.
Right. A lot happened.
In the episodes, yeah. There was a decent amount. 1 thing per episode, so 15 things have taken place.
Yep. The current... I guess Helen was the HOH in between. Mm-hmm. She put Aaron, Caitlin, and backdoor Jeremy into being on the block. Jeremy's out.
See ya.
Which
I feel bad, not for him as much as for his people.
Yes, the Cherokees.
Yes, the Cherokee tribe.
The Cherokee Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had a rough haul.
It feels like we made them a lot of promises as a community.
That's
right. Now we say, hopefully this makes up for all of it. Here's one of your people on Big Brother 15.
Yeah, with a chance to win some greenbacks.
Same as all the other promises we made. 3 episodes in, we pull the rug out.
Yeah. Pretty nasty stuff.
Yep.
But it was not 3 episodes in. It was 23
Oh, I'm sorry. 3 votes in. Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. 3 votes in, 84 single episodes of units of the show.
23 supersodes.
Supersodes, yes.
Yeah. I hope you're picking up my squeaky chair on the mic. That's a
you guys
good
getting
thing.
that squeak at home?
Yeah, you getting that squeak?
We're in the
feels
squeak
like you're
room.
in the studio with me.
We're in the squeak room today. So the current HOH, head of household, if you don't watch the show, which you should.
My man, Judd.
Judd D. Stud.
I want to say this in a really quick moment.
Yeah.
You should watch the show, and I was always scared to watch it because it is 3 episodes per week.
Yes, it's
and I don't feel it at all.
Time commitment.
I don't feel it.
Quit your job, dummy. Watch the show.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Anything you're doing that is putting your
stack them up.
Time ahead.
Stack them up.
Yeah, sure.
Record a couple episodes. Then it's only on once a week.
Yeah,
you just watch them all at once.
Yeah,
you're gonna love it.
Spend the whole weekend watching the show, then go back to whatever it is you do during the week, whatever dumb thing.
Yeah, it's nothing. Nothing you do matters. Nothing any of us does matters. We're all gonna fucking die. Share some Big Brother moments with me. Now, anyway, Judd.
Judd's the HOH.
Judd the Stud.
He's from where? The South.
Yeah.
He's from somewhere in the South.
Might be from Montgomery.
Yeah, it seems like he might be from somewhere like Montgomery.
Might be from Mobile.
And he has sort of been in the background for most of the show.
Jawbone, Mississippi.
Yeah, it seems like he'd be from a place called like Duck Hook.
Yeah.
And he has control over the show now.
Mm-hmm.
And they play it like this is difficult for him because the narrative of the show, we talk about a lot. Big Brother in particular, they don't have a lot of time to edit these things, but they always needs to be a story.
Yeah, they invent these stories.
So the narrative of the show is that Judd is struggling because he's dumb. He's a dumb guy.
Yeah, so they would have you believe.
Yeah. And the part of the way they do this, if you listen, for example, to this clip from last week, Judd's saying a pretty intelligent thing, but there's some sound effects.
A great strategic point.
There's some sound effects in the background that make it seem like he's saying something dumb. Here it is.
I definitely thought grabbing the big scoop would be the big ticket to winning the game. You know, it's you can fit a lot more barbecue sauce in that thing.
It was the beginning of a Black Skinhead, which I guess they played right after that clip in Big
Yeezus?
Brother. Yeah, from Yeezus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Judd says that
big music budget on that show.
Yes. Yes. So Judd says that pretty intelligent thing. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the clip without the sound, and then you're going to hear Judd's line again with like free of context. So here it is. I'm going to play it now.
Please. I was thinking that grabbing the larger scoop was the optimal strategic decision because you can fit more barbecue sauce with a larger scoop surface area.
So you hear without the trombones, he sounds like a pretty smart guy. You can see this is TV magic.
It's at least average intelligence. I mean, for these shows, it sounds like that's a good choice. Sure. You do want the larger scoop for that challenge.
We're lifting the veil. We're showing you how the sausage
winner
is
going to
made.
use the larger. Yeah, yes. I mean, so that's a great decision. But they play those trombones, and it makes him seem stupid.
He's
and
like,
there's also stuff you can't hear.
Stuff that you can't hear, but
because graphically, they've animated a dunce cap onto his head during that.
Yes. Big old clown shoes.
Oh yeah,
that squeak everywhere he goes,
and those big old Billy Bob teeth.
Yep.
You know, are sticking out of him like he looks like mud.
A stalk of hay. Just kind of flapping around on his lip every time he talks. This is all animated onto Judd.
And they've drawn his pants around his ankles, and he's got these heart boxers on.
Yeah.
You know?
Heart boxers under a barrel.
And then at one
with suspenders on top.
At one point, they pause the footage with his mouth open. They animate a fly flying into his mouth.
Yeah.
And then he hiccups, and then the fly comes out drunk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is unfair.
Yeah. And a lot of times they'll pause it, and some guy, I don't even know who this guy is, but just like a person pops up from the bottom of the screen and kind of shrugs and looks around like, can you believe this guy? And then he just goes away, and they just go on with the rest of the show.
Yeah, and not to celeb drop or whatever, but I was sitting next to that guy.
Oh, you were
at Spago last week.
Oh,
and I turned to him and I said, "Hey, were you really there when Judd was saying those things?"
Yeah.
Do you know what he told me?
Huh?
No. Just what we suspected.
Oh, yeah, he said,
who's Judd?
He said, that's why it's called acting, right?
Yeah, he said, that's why it's called acting. And then he said, who's Judd? And I said,
wow.
Judd the Stud. Which, Helen gave him the nickname Judd the Stud, and sometimes Helen is wearing his shirt.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Judd has this shirt of a bear. He has a shirt with like a big scary bear on it. Mm-hmm. It's very distinctive. And he wears it almost all the time, except when Helen is wearing it.
Yeah, if you're her husband or her kids, you got to be looking a little askance at that.
I wonder if he must have asked Helen about that. He must have at least said, I noticed you're wearing that guy Judd's shirt. I'm sure it's nothing, but I just want to hear from you that it's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I would want to have that conversation.
And no matter what she says, I'm still going to be wondering
I want
something went down. Right? Yeah, I just heard it say like, all right, we got to get divorced, right?
I'll tell you, the sort of Dan Cortese is hanging over that marriage, you know? I really feel like it's going to just strike down and sever them.
Yep.
But it is very unfair that they do that to Judd, who seems pretty smart.
Yep. It's the risk you take. You sign your life and reputation away on these shows.
That's what we've proven, is that as much as we love reality TV, this week we really have explored, you can't trust these producers.
Yeah. You risk, like Judd, coming on the show and having honey animated so it's all over your hands at all times. Your hands are just dripping with honey.
So sticky.
Yeah. And it makes you look stupid.
Yeah.
we're going to be right back. Oh, we got a guest.
Yeah, we got a guest.
Kate Spencer. She's a senior writer-producer for VH1 and VH1.com.
It's a very funny UCB
She's a performer at the UC Berkeley Theater in Los Angeles, and she's, I think, the first mom we've had on the show. A lot of you have been saying, get some moms on there.
None of these people have any perspective on child rearing.
So,
well, here comes the mom.
Here comes Kate Spencer. When we come back.
Bye.
Hey, guys. In addition to streaming the reality show at earwolf.com, you can subscribe to the show. One
Clearly.
thing I took away from it.
System doesn't work good.
Let's move to the Big Brother house. Lot of action this week. There were 120 episodes this week.
Yeah.
They were all really engaging. Howard sort of emerged as a player this week and was sort of like getting in the mix and making some pitches around the house to switch up the alliances. And he was trying to create an alliance of outsiders.
But he has trouble communicating things to some of these dummies, I feel like,
Yes.
in terms that they understand.
So like we see on, like Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank is really great at this.
Yes.
Creating analogies, using simple ideas like how animals behave in nature and stuff like that.
That's one example, yeah.
Ancient fables. And Howard did that this week, trying to create this alliance of outsiders against the group that's running the house. Now I'll play a clip of the pitch that he made.
Power in numbers. That's why grasshoppers are afraid of ants. If the ants ever figure it out, they got the numbers to do damage. Ants are loyal, and there's more of them. So even though the grasshoppers are bigger and they think they got power or they're smarter, they are outnumbered. They'll always kill the grasshopper.
I like that analogy.
So he's drawing from the ancient war between grasshoppers and ants.
Yes, we all know this tale.
The grasshoppers are sort of ant overlords in nature.
Yes.
In their ecosystem, the grasshoppers are always telling the ants what to do.
Well, they're sitting on their throne of grass.
Yes. And they eat ants, obviously.
They gobble them up, yes.
But at the same time, they're very afraid of ants.
Oh, yeah, that's why they're afraid of them, is because they know that ants are loyal.
Ants are extremely loyal. They're some of the most loyal animals in nature. And the grasshoppers are sometimes saying to the ants, listen, why don't you, come over and join up with us?
Be loyal to us. But ants are only loyal to ants.
Ants are only loyal to other ants. Exactly. Yeah. And they have numbers. If the ants would ever just figure it out, because that's the issue right now. Like, when you look at ants and grasshoppers and the way they behave now, the ants are sort of acting like they don't know.
Well, if the ants, yes, if they ever realize that they actually have more numbers, ants always kill the grasshopper.
Yes.
Even though the grasshopper is, and you can't hear it, you can almost hear that he's doing it, even though the grasshopper is, as Howard says, smarter.
Yeah.
He does finger quotes at one point.
Yeah.
And which,
so these so-called grasshoppers
thank you, yes.
are, people think that they're smarter.
Well, they're saying they're smarter. The grasshoppers are always claiming to be very smart. And so it's good that he puts it in quotes, because they're always saying how smart they are. And it's like,
it's about
enough,
time.
you
Finally,
haughty grasshopper. enough boastfulness, grasshopper. We're sick of it. They're smarter. I guess one grasshopper might be smarter than one ant, but are they really smarter like what they say?
Sure. And that's because that's the message of that Aesop's fable.
Yes.
Is that the ants have more numbers than the grasshopper, and they're more loyal, so they could overthrow.
Is that the ants should be murdering grasshoppers at an alarming rate.
Yeah.
They should just be teaming up, ganging up, and just ripping their guts out.
Right.
Because there's so many of them that the grasshopper can't possibly eat enough ants in time.
And like Gina Marie says, it's a good analogy. It's like you hear...
I like that analogy.
You hear an analogy like that, it's hard not to be sold on it.
It's hard not to be moved.
But the analogy only works temporarily. The alliance breaks up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Some of these ants get to thinking they're a grasshopper.
It starts when Alyssa, like we mentioned, was put on the block by America. That was the MVP this week. So Alyssa's up for elimination, and Howard had a interesting reaction to that also, which I'm gonna. This is how he showed how shocked he was at Alyssa being put on the block.
So I see Alyssa's face come up as the MVP nominee. Surprise, surprise. I thought she was the MVP. I don't know what to think.
So he sees Alyssa. She's the MVP this week.
MVP, yes.
And then he says, surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
But then he really was surprised. So I think, like...
yeah, a lot of times people will go,
say surprise, surprise.
Surprise in a very sarcastic way.
And they're not really surprised.
He says it twice.
Which I think...
When he is surprised.
Yes, when he is surprised, I think that means he's twice as surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
which is a better system.
Yes, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
When you look back, when I look back at the way I was doing it, a lot of the time someone would say something I expected, and I was like, "Oh, surprise, surprise!"
Yeah.
But shouldn't that mean I'm really surprised? Isn't that how it should work?
Yeah, it should be. Oh, I'm twice as surprised as someone who just says, "That's a surprise,"
right?
Yeah.
So then Alyssa, she was on the block. It made her really mad.
She was freaking pissed.
She was really mad at the whole house. Gina Marie tried to comfort her at the sink, and she kind of arches her back and goes, "Please don't touch me," like that.
Yeah.
And it was really scary. And then later, Amanda is an old lady who is involved with McCrae, and it was McCrae's 24th birthday.
And I feel like it's true love.
Yes.
They're a really great couple. Yeah, it's a very portable
and he also
business.
said he won $5,000 this week, and he said that could buy him about 2,500 pizzas.
Yeah. Which was a conservative estimate.
Yeah, that was really exciting for him because of the pizza. Because I think for him, it's like when he delivers pizzas, he usually eats them before he gets there, but that costs him $2 in gas. So I think each pizza costs him about $2 in gas as he's driving to the person he's supposed to deliver the pizza to.
Eating the pizza while driving, yeah.
Eating the whole pizza. So anyway, Amanda dressed up in a sexy bathing suit for McCrae's birthday and gave him
one piece
and gave him 24 birthday spanks.
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't sit well with Alyssa. Something about that really made Alyssa kind of mad. And then this is her talking about it.
I thought Amanda's dominatrix outfit was ridiculous. I couldn't believe she put that on. I don't know if it embarrassed McCrae, but it embarrassed me. I'm sorry, but if I were doing something hot for my husband, it wouldn't be a one-piece fringe bathing suit.
And then she goes on, she says that she looks at Amanda's thighs and she wants to vomit.
Yeah, she said it's going to make her throw up.
Yeah, she said that to Amanda's face.
Yeah.
And my reaction now about you is that it wasn't really fair of Alyssa to go after Amanda like that.
Yeah.
Just because she lives in a place where she kind of has this perfect face.
Alyssa happens to have been born with a perfect face.
Yes.
Structurally just, old Jesus da Vinci reached down and molded a perfect face in the womb.
Yes.
And she came out looking really good. And so it's not fair to take shots at us mere mortals who maybe, I don't want to say that I encourage this, but maybe would benefit from some plastic surgery, which she obviously never had to go through.
Because she was born with the kind of face that you would get if you got 20 plus procedures done to your face.
Yeah.
She was born with that.
Yeah.
So if you went to the plastic surgeon,
if you went to a doctor and you said, do everything you know how to do.
Right.
I don't care if one thing works with the other. Just do every procedure you learned in school to my face.
And,
you would look like her.
Do all the procedures you learned, all the normal ones, and then
make some up.
And then do stuff like tuck the corners of my mouth sort of under my cheekbones. So
Can
that-
you staple them from the inside up into my cheekbones? So at rest, my face looks like I'm doing sort of a weird,
as kind of a sneer,
sort of a jokery sneer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, if you could make my nostrils perfectly round, like I don't care if you get it right in the first time, go back in and make them like these weird, like perfect dark.
Take 8 or 9
circles.
cracks at it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know how much collagen you got back there, but go ahead, call your neighbor, have him bring some over. Because I want my lips to look like a melty braid of red vines.
Yeah.
That have just sort of been squished inside a glossy packaging. And I want to seem surprised.
Yes. I want my eyebrows to kind of take those eyebrows and lift them up just a little bit. So that I'm always surprised, because I'm walking around and sometimes I'm not surprised.
And I want to be pulled so taut that at rest at the end of a sentence, in order to stop talking, I need to make a noise to get my face back to a semi-normal position. Right. Where if I say like, hey, hand me that, I then have to go, yeah.
Yeah, it's a vibration, the vibration of me going like,
so I saved myself.
Yeah. It brings it back to that normal place. Where my face looks normal.
Now, obviously, we all want that.
Sure.
None of us can afford to get it done. She didn't have to pay a dime because she's born
with
looking
it.
like that.
And so she doesn't understand someone like Amanda. She thinks that Amanda's making a choice, basically, to not look as perfect as Alyssa does. I feel like it's sort of, I think America probably didn't respond well to that. She's got the perfect face vote, obviously.
And,
She's win an MVP.
Don't open yourself up, Alyssa, because she may want to consider at some point possibly getting breast implants.
Who, Amanda?
Alyssa might.
Oh, Alyssa might, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, obviously, she was born with whatever she's working with now.
Yes.
But that's not going to last forever.
It's almost like, yeah, you're right. Because right now, her breasts are these sort of perfect hemispheres. Like if you just kind of cut a basketball in half and like a mini basketball.
Yeah.
And put them on her chest so they don't touch at all.
No, they don't know each other. They don't know the other one's there.
There's like 3 inches of separation between her breasts. So
which is very attractive.
You could pour some milk down her chest without it touching either breast.
That's
and
right.
It would just kind of go all the way down.
Yeah, and of course she was born like that, and
very hot.
That's sexy.
And yeah, that's something she was born with.
But you know, at some point she might need to actually. That's something, unlike her face, that won't necessarily last forever. And so, I think
it might be
careful.
good for her to sort of be humbled like that.
Yeah,
to have to go through
that
something
might be
like
healthy.
A lot of other people.
That might be healthy. That a lot of us have to do.
The challenge. The challenge.
Guys, you're all so wonderful. Thank you for listening. Rock on! Went to this Italian restaurant. Have you been to one of
like the country?
No, it's like in the United States.
Okay.
But it's like pizza sauce and spaghettis and all
I've had
these...
pizza sauce on pizza.
Yeah, this is different though. It's like pizza sauce on spaghettis, which are these like long, sort of wobbly. Anyway,
not for me. Welcome back to the show.
Hey,
we got a guest, Craig DiGregorio.
Hello.
That's why you music, Craig.
I don't know why you asked us to play that.
Craig insisted we play the beginning of that song. Tell us the name of that track for anybody who wants to download it at home.
That's Money Trees. It's off Good Kid, Mad City. We paid for the rights, just to accidentally play the beginning of that song.
People don't understand how much we invest in the show.
That's why you heard the ad. We need you to donate to the show. We're strapped.
Got to make up some of that money.
We're accidentally playing a lot of expensive songs.
Yeah.
Craig, you're a writer on Workaholics.
Workaholics.
You have
producer.
a lot. You're
writer producer.
You've got a lot of credits to your name.
Couple.
He's worked on a bunch of stuff.
Couple credits.
I want to say Reaper.
Workaholics. I worked on Reaper.
I want to.
Yeah, Workaholics.
Yeah. What else?
Workaholics, Reaper, Da Ali G Show.
Oh, that one.
Oh wow. Dave and Steve's video game.
Oh, the
explosion?
video game explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check that out online.
I feel like you've written some League stuff.
Written some League stuff. Everybody Hates Chris. That was a
Everybody
show.
hates Chris.
What else?
We pushing
I don't
some
know.
Joey.
I haven't. Oh boy. I'd prefer not to.
All right.
could.
Yeah.
And you're sort of an historic guest in the show's history because I think you are the first guest who has heard the show before.
I've heard the show before.
Who has actually listened to the show and then appeared on it. So this must be very exciting for you.
This is exciting. I thought the room would be bigger.
Yeah, sure.
I've heard, let's say, 70% of your episodes. For
Okay.
real. And they're all pretty
Yeah.
good.
Thank you.
They're pretty good.
Thank you.
I
That's very nice.
try to tell people, like Abby won't listen. It's my wife.
You've
I
asked
would
her.
think she would listen to us talk about
I would
Big
think
Brother.
it would be all for her. 'Cause
I
it's-
feel like
asked
us
her to
talking
listen,
about Alyssa last
and
week would have
she-
been right up her alley.
Sure.
She would have loved it. I think she listened to an off episode on a run or something, and it wasn't for her.
Left a bad taste in her mouth.
Yeah, it really wasn't for her.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, any idea which episode?
It was an early on one because I was an
Yeah.
early adopter and I wanted to sort of get her on board fast. You hadn't
we
found
didn't
your footing.
find our voice until I would say last week.
Yeah, I think so too.
Last week was a good show.
Last week was one of our strong ones. It was the strong one. It was the one we were happy with.
Yeah.
It's geared especially just toward me because I listen to I watch the two shows that you talk about the most.
Well,
So I
especially
get
now
very-
because we didn't used to watch Big Brother,
B-Bro.
and you were. He
was in my ear
Sean's
every
ear,
day,
especially.
being like, "You have to watch it. You have to watch it. You're going to love it."
Yeah.
And now I love it. We talk about it every week.
And
It's
kept
our favorite
getting
show.
The same comment about like it's 3 episodes. I can't commit that much time, and then you realize
Not enough.
it's not enough.
Not enough
I need
episodes.
to watch After Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to get on them feeds.
Gotta get that live
You can
feed.
find me in the feeds.
Catch me in the live feed room.
Did you like from a couple weeks ago where McCrae got his birthday spanking? And he said, last year on my birthday, I was just watching the feeds. Now I'm in a live feed getting spanked. This is the best birthday ever.
I mean,
Yeah.
That was more Judd.
Nah, I feel it both.
Okay.
Why in a one piece though?
Yeah,
You know?
One
In a
Piece.
fringe one
If I wanted
piece.
to do something hot for my husband, it wouldn't be in a
She's acting
one-piece
like they have
fringe
infinite
bathing
like
suit.
clothing options available and that and she's also like acting like they're not on a TV show where you aren't really going to be so sexy. It's going to be a little bit of a goof.
Yeah.
If Amanda had brought in really, really sexy lingerie, something's wrong with her.
Right? Wouldn't that be so
That would have been
weird?
much stranger.
And I just didn't know that about One Pieces that I guess they're for poor people.
And they're disgusting.
Yeah.
Apparently. She looks good in
I
it.
thought she looked great.
Great. She's like a person.
I might throw up. I'm just kidding. I might throw up though.
That was probably the meanest thing that's happened in this
Yeah.
year's season.
And then you know what?
Yeah.
You know how America responded?
Including the racism.
yeah.
Sean-
Yeah, that's true. I have a genuine question. Are you guys cheering for anyone in particular this season? Because I feel like past seasons,
Yeah.
there's been a clear cut like, that's my guy or that's my girl. And this season, I don't have one.
I'd like to
I
see
do have
McCrae
some.
walk away.
Yeah,
with the-
McCrae
with
would
the
be
big
great.
bucks.
I like McCrae a lot. I actually like Amanda. I like Candace. I'm rooting for Candace.
She has a tough road ahead of her.
I know, she really does. Everyone hates her. They won't really say why. And she doesn't really seem to they call her like a time bomb waiting to go
Right.
off. That's what Aaron
Which I don't
said.
get.
Yeah, no,
I
well,
don't-
she
she's
hasn't
like a
really
very nice
shown.
person.
Yeah, she hasn't really demonstrated any of that.
Also, they keep saying how Howard is this amazing competitor and he can't do anything.
They're like, he has
He's
to
never
go.
won
We have
anything.
to. He couldn't even fail a competition on purpose.
Right.
When he tried to throw a competition, he couldn't even do that. He has never won or intentionally lost.
Right.
He's never done anything he set out to do.
Yeah, I think that McCrae is basically the person who I would be least upset to see win.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's your problem with him, Craig?
I don't have a huge problem with McCrae. I just don't like him very much. He's fine. Like he's the one I cheer for, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah.
Whereas past seasons, there have been people I feel great about.
Right. And do you feel like this is a strong season?
Very good season.
Yeah.
Not a lot of likable people.
Yes.
Do you feel a little like, because I feel like the audience has really expanded with the show getting in the news.
Right.
It's drawn a lot more people. Do you feel like, well, this used to be your little secret?
I still feel it's pretty much there. Not a lot of people watch the show.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, but it is hard when something that you love gets exposed, like, to a broader audience, and then you kind of go like, you're not a real fan of this.
We
Like,
were talking
I
about
found
that
it.
earlier with Orange is the New Black. It's kind of our...
We had discovered it.
that.
I don't know if you've heard of it, but
Yeah.
No, explain it.
was kind of this underground thing that I think they made it for nothing, and it was
And they
probably
just
at
said,
the time. I don't know
"Let's
when
just
it
put
got
it out
made,
there,"
but like a bunch of
and-
no names, and
yeah.
it was put on Internet Tunes
Internet
or
Flicks.
on Internet Flicks,
Internet
yeah,
Flicks.
Internet Flicks, and nobody knew about it, and we discovered it and just binged. I mean, the whole thing in like a day, and all
Like,
of a
I
sudden,
barely came up for air.
I like to watch stuff on my television though, so I can't with that. I like to watch stuff on my
I
television.
was like that, and it does ruin a lot of it. But it's just so fucking funny that it kind of.
But it's not too funny.
No,
That's what I really like about it. It sometimes seems like it has a chance to be funny, and then it says, let's hold off on that a little bit.
not too funny because it wants you to still care.
How's
Right.
this?
It's
Is
not
the
a cartoon.
world real?
Not too real.
Not so real that you can't have any fun.
Right.
Because I like to be involved with shows where the main characters are a bit odd.
Uh-huh.
The world is real.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll notice that on the show that we work for is the world is very real,
Uh-huh.
but the characters are just
Just slightly
just a
off.
smidgen off. Just slightly off.
And the world just has to react.
Yes, the world is
To them.
Yes, the world is dealing with their strangeness.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, you brought up the racism, bringing in a broader audience.
Thank you for the recommendation. We will probably not be
Won't be tuning in again.
continuing with
Thanks,
the show.
nice try.
Big Brother. Lot of action again this week. Who was lemonaded? Jesse.
Jesse got lemonaded.
Finally.
Yeah, Jesse and Spencer were up on the block. Really seemed like they were going to make a big move and put like a Helen or an Amanda up there.
They should have.
I know, at this point it's like, just do it.
Andy's honestly, and he's good at the game. He's going to last a long time until he is eliminated by McCrae and Amanda, who he is carrying into the finals.
Yeah.
With his alliance. It's very, very stupid to team up with a team of two who you will be the first to go as soon as they get the chance to lemonade you.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
It's a bad way to play the game.
It's ruining
Maybe
the
he's
game
got
a
something
little
else
bit for
up
me.
his sleeve.
Yes. So, I prefer to focus on people who are playing the game at the highest level. With a lot of these other shows, they focus on like Challenge and Survivor, people who are skilled at puzzles and strength and things like that. It's underrepresented in Big Brother, but it actually is a very important part of the show. People bring a lot of different skills to it. Howard was very strong.
Yeah, and you saw that play itself out in him working out in between challenges.
Working out in between the challenges that he would not win.
Or was unable to throw
Or was
effectively.
unable to deliberately lose. Yes.
Too strong.
It turns out McCrae has a lot of endurance. He did show that a few times. He's pretty good at challenges. Alyssa, it turns out this week, brings math to the equation. I did know. I wasn't sure that you would, but I'm glad you did.
No,
I'm glad you did.
And right away I didn't. I went, why is he?
Right.
And then I was like,
Right.
okay, nice.
Good. Okay, good. The challenge this week, they call it a counting challenge, but it's actually much more involved.
It's a lot more complex than that, yeah.
They put together a sort of scary scene from like a monster movie that all the contestants were to look at.
Wasn't a fan of that.
And there were a lot of scary... And
there was a lot of... It looked like a laboratory of a man who was trying to make a Frankenstein, because it has a lot of scary brains, a lot of scary bolts, which I just could only think about them being in some neck of some
I think that's
Frankenstein.
actually what they wanted you to think.
Oh,
but
really?
That's the
but
kind
also
of...
the Pharaoh's jewels, which seem like maybe there's a mummy somewhere, like behind the Frankenstein.
But that's the kind of scared I don't mind being so bad, because it's just like tension, suspense over like, is that Frankenstein gonna really show up? Like is he gonna come in?
At last,
and as long as he doesn't, I'm okay. I'm okay.
At last, we disagree. Even the suggestion of a Frankenstein coming onto my screen and ultimately out of my screen and into my living room to try to eat me or rip my arms off is just unacceptable for me. I can't tolerate it, because as soon as I make that okay, as soon as I make the suggestion okay, then what defense do I have when a Frankenstein is coming out of my screen?
Yeah. No, I understand.
And punching me.
Sure.
Kicking me.
Eating you.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Right. No. Well, it's good. It's okay for us to disagree sometimes. So to the actual challenge, they had the scary brains, the bolts, the mummy's jewels up on the stage. And the challenge was they would show you, say, bolts. They would show you a bowl of 35 bolts, and then on the stage were many more jars of bolts, and you were supposed to guess, for most of the contestants, they were guessing how many bolts were on the stage. And to the casual observer, you'd say, like, oh, what am I going to do? Just, like, count these as fast as I can? There are hundreds, maybe thousands of bolts up there. But someone like Alyssa, who knows math, comes into a challenge like this with a built-in strategy from learning math in school. So I'm just going to play a clip where she talks about that.
I need to win this competition, and luckily, I'm a total math whiz. First, you have to take the ratio of the sample size that were provided and estimate, given the ratio, of how many proportions of the ratio could fit on the display. So, it's a lot of math.
And that is a lot to take in for somebody like I took math in high school.
Yeah,
but you
touched on it in high
I sort of
school.
hit the wall after that, and so feels a little show-offy to kind of put that all out there at once. But when you think about it, it really does make sense.
Yeah. It takes me a while to catch up to it. She obviously is able to, and that's the difference. They always, what's the difference between like a genius and just a very smart person like you or me is the genius invents the equation.
Right.
The smart person just uses it.
And I think in a lot of these cases, the genius doesn't necessarily know she's a genius. And so she will talk, she assumes that everyone can understand the things that she's saying
so
when really
simple
she's
to
just on
her.
a different level. Yes, because it's so easy for her.
That
But when you really break it down, you see how brilliant it is, because obviously you'd start by taking the ratios of the sample size. That is,
because that's all you're given. It's just a sample size. So you take the ratio of the sample size.
Easy, for someone like Alyssa, very easy first step. You take the ratio of the sample size. Then you look at the proportion of the ratio.
How many proportions?
You estimate how many proportions of the ratio.
You estimate how many proportions of the ratio
are up there on the stage. So you say, okay, how many proportions of the ratio are up there? And you
have to, obviously it's not precise, you have to estimate it.
Yes, you have to estimate it. And then I have to go back and get a refresher on exactly what she...
I know. I should have taken notes.
Okay, let's do it again.
I need to win this competition, and luckily, I'm a total math whiz. First, you have to take the ratio of the sample size that were provided
Yeah, we
and
did that.
estimate, given the ratio,
yeah.
how many proportions of the ratio
yeah.
could fit on the display.
Yep.
So, it's a lot of math.
Yeah, it is a lot of math.
It is a lot of math. Good for the show, putting up something... I actually like when people are allowed to really flex their muscle. Like,
Well, and one of the big
I want to see people do
criticisms-
things that I can't do.
Yeah, I want to see somebody who is excellent in their field. And one of the criticisms of reality shows is it's the dumbing down of America.
Yeah.
Well, listen to that
There's
clip
your
and
answer.
tell me.
There's your answer. Feels like you haven't been watching the show if you say a thing like that. We'll be right back. What are we going to talk about? The challenge, and then we have our guest,
Mr. Jared Paul.
Mr. Jared Paul. Really, really exciting guest for us. He was our boss. He was the creator of Alvin Gregory, the show that Sean and I worked on, and we don't get to interact with him that much. He's a very busy guy. He has a huge number of projects going on. He's going to talk about some of those, and also he had a very exciting encounter with
Des and Chris
Des
Harrison.
and Chris Harrison of The Bachelorette.
It'd be nice to catch up.
That's all coming up on the Reality Show. Listeners, if you love the Reality Show and want to keep it going at WWE Total Divas on
It's on E.
it's on WWE.
Yep.
Yep. And Big Brother, action in Big Brother as always. Our friend Chris Schleicher, writer for the Mimby Project, is going to come in and talk about. He was a PA on American Diggers, which we talked about with somebody on this show.
Spellman, I think.
Spellman, yeah. He was a PA. He's going to give us a few scoops. And we know our scoop troop loves scoops out there. Thanks for sending in all your scoops this past week.
Yeah, thank you so much. Big shout out to the Scoop Troop. You guys are getting it done and doing it major. And so we're going to give a big scoopy shout out to our biggest Scoop King. And this week, that was...
I don't know, Bird Rules?
Bird Rules. We love you, Bird Rules. Keep scooping.
He's going to talk about, there was a big exit interview this past week. You know, if you watch the show, we got to get into that. But before that, earlier this week, there was a challenge, probably the biggest HOH competition of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Where four contestants who are now in the judge's house got a chance to come back. Judd, Jesse, Helen, and Candace. And everyone who was still in the house was also competing to be HOH.
So on one side of the fence, people are competing to get back into the house after having been voted out and eliminated. And on the other side, people are competing who are still in the house to become head of a household. So there's simultaneous competitions happening.
Yes.
And it was a nail biter.
It was by far the most... They were saying the whole time, this is the most difficult challenge we've ever had to face on the show.
Yeah. I would not have been able to catch... They had to catch 10 balls. I wouldn't have been able to catch ball one.
Yes, they had to. They were standing on these platforms with these softballs being fired at them. They had to catch them, and like water's being blasted on them and stuff. Sounds easy, but then they throw in this X factor that completely changed the game. I'm just gonna play a clip of Judd talking about what happened.
Oh, Timmy the Turtle! I love you! Don't look at him. So I'm hanging on this wall, you know, trying to stay all concentrated and everything. Then all of a sudden these mascots come running out acting a fool. I'm just like, what's going on here? I forgot how crazy this place was. Where'd that turtle thing go?
So you're up there trying to catch softballs.
Yeah.
Fighting for your life on this show.
Yeah, trying to win a big amount of money.
And who comes out from backstage but a couple mascots.
Yeah.
Straight up acting a fool.
Yeah, well, it'd be one thing. It'd be distracting enough if the mascots came out and just like read a book in a chaise lounge.
Had like a nice conversation.
If they just kick back
like,
some kind of umbrella drink, Mai Tai or something, and we're just, leafing through the Mortal Instruments in a chaise lounge. That's one thing. That would be difficult, but not impossible.
Sure.
But once they start acting a fool, I am like, how is anyone staying on this platform?
Yeah.
And it's true, like, after such a short time without having seen Timmy the Turtle, I had forgotten how freaking crazy this house is.
Right.
But then as soon as I see him again, I go, man, this place is crazy. I can't be catching balls. These mascots acting a fool.
And then you hear Jed at the end say, where'd that turtle go?
Yeah.
I think what they were hoping would happen, and I think did happen to a couple of the contestants, once the turtle walks backstage, some of them just jumped off the platform to go see what else that turtle, and the other was a wolf.
Yeah.
To see what other foolish hijinks that they were going to get up to back there.
Well, to see, because they're acting dumb, crazy, stupid, doing all kinds of goofy funniness moves, and so funny. And then Spencer gives the great advice, something that you might see said in like a movie with Medusa or something.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, he goes, "Don't look at him." It's Timmy the Turtle. Don't look at him.
Yeah, and he sees Jessie trying not to look, but then just sneaking a little peek, and then like, "No, Jessie!"
Yes,
and then it's over. Like she's done.
It's
she's
gone.
She's under their spell.
Yeah,
and this is what we talk about with like these shows belonging in the same category of like the greatest professional sports. They do the same thing at like a baseball game, like. We've all, like, played baseball. It's very easy. Like, they throw the thing in there and you just hit it, like, as far as you can. Like, it goes
If
really...
that was the only X factor, is just like somebody's trying to throw a ball past me and I get this whole bat to hit it with.
Yeah, you just look at the
home
ball.
run every time.
The bat's huge. You just hit it, it goes, like, 500 feet. But then they throw these little weirdos out there, these little aliens and monsters and such.
That's why they exist, yeah.
And sometimes you're trying to swing at the ball... But then, you see somebody wiggling his belly around.
He's wiggling his belly.
Like shining a bald guy's head with a cloth.
Yes, yes. Or sometimes there's two of them, and they're engaged in some kind of conflict.
Sure.
Where one kicks the other one's butt.
Yeah, and the other guy grabs his butt and kind of jumps.
He jumps like, whoa!
Yeah.
And how I'm supposed to hit a baseball when that happens.
So that was fun.
Fun, but scary.
It was actually very scary.
It's a wolf. It's a giant wolf.
It's a wolf the size of like a big guy.
Yeah, it's like a picture a guy big as Hayes. And then make that guy a wolf, and then have him acting a fool, so he's unpredictable and could do anything at any time.
Because that was the thing. Not a nice wolf. Not just like a normal big wolf that it's like the kind you just like to get to know. This is one that's doing little punching.
Please don't misunderstand. If the wolf had come out, set up in a Barca-lounger, turned out a little lamp over his head, and just...
A reading lamp,
and
so as not to disturb, just like a little one that attaches to his...
Yeah, so that his light isn't casting out something with a really closed lid where the light's just directly over his reading material.
Which is the Prophet.
And if he had just cracked open the Prophet, if he had cracked open the Alchemist, the Celestine Prophecy, if he had cracked open just a copy of the Mortal Instruments, anything good.
Not a wolf like that.
No, it was not that kind of wolf. This wolf
was,
I don't know if he's ever even read the Mortal Instruments.
This wolf he was acting just like a fool.
Yes, which is what was so scary.
Total Divas. Who was it that recommended this show? I wish I could.
Next week. Think about it.
We also wanted to talk about. We talked a little about Big Brother earlier, but there was
big exit interview.
Big exit interview.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with Frost Nixon.
Really?
But this blows that out of the water.
Yes. I would not even say it was in the same ballpark.
Julie Chen is a professional journalist.
Yes.
And she knew she was going to be looking down the barrel of the glassy black eyes of Aaron when she came out of that house.
Aaron was eliminated this past week. You've probably heard on the local news, she's taken some flack for some racist comments she's made.
She's been racial on the show.
Yes. The eyes of the world were on this exit interview where Aaron and Julie Chen were going to face off for the first time. Because Aaron took an interesting approach to her racism that you don't often see, which it was mostly targeted toward Asian people.
Yeah.
Which I thought was an interesting twist on the...
That was a fresh take.
A fresh take on racism. Yeah.
My favorite thing about the exit interview is you could see in Erin's eyes, her immediate response was going to be to say, "I did not say that."
She actually did say that. I could just play it. I've got a trimmed down version of the clip. I think it'd just be fun to hear. Okay. This is Erin from Big Brother talking to Julie Chen after she was eliminated from the show.
In the early days of this game, you said some pretty harsh things about your fellow housemates. Amanda even tried to warn you, give you heads up that some of your words others were interpreting as being racist. How do you respond to that?
Being Southern, it's a stereotype, and I have said...
So that was actually interesting how she turned it on Julie Chen.
You're racist,
Julie Chen is the racist. We don't traffic in stereotypes on this show, Julie. Calling a Southern person a racist is the most racist thing you can do.
Anytime you call a Southern person potentially racist, you're trafficking in its stereotypes.
And I don't care how much proof you have.
Yeah. Let's keep playing.
Some things that have been taken completely out of context and wrong, and I do not mean to ever come off racist. That's not me, and I apologize to anyone that I've offended for that.
Hey, Peanut Gallery.
You got a scared little girl out here trying to make a sentence.
Oh, that sniggering in the background.
Keep it down.
These little chuckles. I'm trying to watch my show.
We want to point out everyone in the house went in knowing that everything they say, everything they do gets broadcast live on the internet. So when you say the intention was not to hurt anyone, let me just read back a few of the things you said. Referring to Candace, you said, "Be careful what you say in the dark. Might not be able to see the bitch." Referring to Helen, you said, "Shut up. Go make some rice."
I didn't.
And referring to Andy, you said, "No one's going to vote for whoever that queer puts up."
So you're right. She's going to say, I didn't say that.
Well, you're in Big Brother. Whenever confronted with something you've done, you immediately say, "I did not do that."
That did not happen. So she's in this place because that's all that happens on the show. People call someone out for doing something, and you just say,
"Spencer, did you say you would vote me out?"
No.
I think Spencer's lying.
No, I'm not. It's like that. That's what the whole
game.
That's the entire show.
That's it. You exist for weeks and weeks in this reality where it's just my word against yours. And then the second you get out, you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, so she's expecting Julie to just be like,
okay.
Yeah, or like,
you didn't?
Yeah. Whoa.
Okay. Yeah. Jean Marie said you did. Okay. Okay, well, it's like, well, you got to look at what Gina Marie said. Yeah, what does she want? She wants to get you out. Okay, thank you. Thank you for helping me.
The best you could possibly hope for is to overhear someone saying something contrary to what they told you.
Which happens a surprising amount. You don't find yourself, I personally don't overhear that much stuff about me in my own life, but it happens pretty much every week on the show.
They're
Can you see
very not careful about it.
Yeah.
how those things can be interpreted as racist and as homophobic?
I do. I do not remember saying those things, and those things were not meant to be. That was
She's killing. I do just want to take a second to point out, she's effortlessly just destroying this bit.
No, the audience sounds like one of my audiences when I'm doing my shit because they're just losing it.
If she were ever decide to do amateur night at the Apollo, watch out.
Yes, this is the kind of thing we're talking about. If you have it, you have it.
Yeah, she has talent. Yeah. She would be busting us up.
That was not meant to be serious, and if I said those things, I feel horrible for that, and I regret that. I don't even know what else to say about that, but I'm not.
Any final thoughts?
No, I honestly, I feel horrible. I feel like in Texas, we say things that are, sometimes we joke and we don't mean it, and I really feel bad that this is how it's being seen and how I've come across to people.
That's the good stuff. Throwing Texas under that bus in the state,
Aaron, the only place that was still going to take you, the one safe haven left, and you went ahead threw them under the bus. You should never talk bad about Texas. They're the only ones that like you still.
No, Julie Chen, you don't understand. This is okay for everyone in Texas.
This is what we do.
We love it.
In Texas.
Bust us up.
We say these things as jokes. And it's weird that you would think that it was a mean thing to say. And then Julie does her bit where she really loads up at the end. Because she knows that this is largely about her. And she makes it that way.
I don't want to seem like that person, and I really do respect everyone in this game, although we've had some really hard times because we're all fighting for our lives in the game.
You know, you're in a unique spot because when this is all over, you're going to get to go home and watch a whole lot of footage of yourself living for 70 days. After you watch all this footage, I hope and I think you might have a new perspective on things. Thanks.
And now Aaron tries to get up and leave.
Wednesday, September 18th, when you and the rest of the jury help decide who wins Big Brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay right there. Up next, the battle for head
Aaron gets up out of her chair and tries to walk off stage, and Julie says, "Stay right there." And Aaron just has to sit uncomfortably as Julie talks, and the camera kind of pans out. And then you see when they're just alone on stage together, they're not talking to each other or looking at each other. They're just kind of freezing each other out. It was great.
Weight of her words holding her in her chair.
That was so well done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit of a shame that they are not allowed to hear information from the outside world, because Julie Chen could have been, "Hey, Aaron, remember your job that you had?"
Yeah, she gave her a lot of clues. To that to that effect.
I've been waiting for this exit interview for so long.
Yes.
And I was worried that the sting would be gone because it was in the first 2-3 weeks that Aaron made all these comments, and then she's been totally chill.
It seemed like the show had forgotten.
Yeah, everyone inside the house had stopped dealing with that in any way.
Julie did not forget.
No, Julie was...
They have very long memories.
You could almost feel Julie hoping that Aaron would be eliminated every week because she wanted that exit interview. And she wanted it as close as possible to the incidents.
Yes.
But it still was very satisfying.
I was worried. You can hear as it plays out, she asks her about the racist comments. She says, it's taken out of context. I love all those people. It wasn't a big deal. And I was like, oh, is that it? I really wanted something to go down here. And then Julie brings out the clips.
I brought the receipts.
And I did the same thing in my car where I was watching it as they did on the thing. I was like, oh! like that. It was very fun.
I worry that we've lost, some of the sting of future exit interviews because Aaron is living in a monster house full of other racists and homophobes.
Sure.
Amanda said stuff. Jean Marie said stuff.
Yes. Spencer talked about
big
how,
Hitler fan.
Yeah.
Loves child porn.
But Aaron was the face of it because, you'd have her be the face of any product.
It's just
beautiful face.
Sort of weep for a Gina Marie who has the same racist attitudes, but not the way with words that Aaron does to articulate and perform. In the shoes of an Asian American person.
That would have been really nice if Julie Chen, in quoting the stuff Aaron had done, had done Aaron's classic Korean nail salon employee
Why
impression.
you know have long nail.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know have boyfriend because you know have long nail.
Yeah.
that was a big oversight on the part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can't go back and enjoy that ever again.
Yeah.
That would have been so much better if she had just said,
If she had
no accent,
intonation
just done
whatsoever.
word for word.
Hey, Aaron.
Very shiny, only $4.
You say you want to shine like star in the sky.
Oh, that would have been so great.
You know, we're going to miss you, Aaron, but say, we know, love you, long time.
Yeah, we know, love you, long time, Aaron. Stay right there.
Stay right there.
Should I get up? No.
Yeah.
No.
Very
Should
good.
I go back to my modeling job?
It all gets piled on her, yeah, and then Gina Marie probably won't even have to face that kind of exit interview.
She wouldn't
I
understand.
bet she'll get
that.
a little something, yeah.
Well, she
That's
also
how we do it in this
she wouldn't-
Staten Island. Everybody
she
be like,
wouldn't back down.
okay.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Where's Nick?
It's amazing she's still in the house. She's still in the house.
gonna-
Spencer's still in the house.
I-
Like all these like very intelligent players are gone.
At this point, you've got to be rooting for Alyssa to win the game.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's lots of game styles, but no one have I ever seen who plays the game with this sort of, you know, maybe doesn't understand the rules of the game.
Yes.
Maybe doesn't understand math in a competition.
Yeah.
Will just sit it out rather than win.
We talked
It's
about
sort of
that.
a Dada style of play.
Yes.
Just
Except Dada with somehow this unbelievable natural ability for challenges that you not even sure you're trying to win, but you just win them.
She's got a yoga mat now. She's
Yes,
unstoppable.
I know. Yes. Chris.
It's alone with us.
Big Brother.
Yeah, baby.
My favorite episode so far. It was very, very fun and good.
Very exciting.
Where Amanda, who somehow has been allowed to run the house all season.
Yeah. Everyone has done what she said at every turn.
People are finally starting to turn on her McCrae, and she's having a meltdown. She doesn't know how to handle it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for a lot of it, she doesn't even think that's the case.
Yes, she thinks that she's safe because she Gina Marie is HOH this week, and Amanda talks to her and tells her that she should take out Alyssa.
She just put up Alyssa and Judd, and she says it 200 different times, and just keeps explaining to Gina Marie as if she's a child, which is fair. Why it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And Gina Marie just goes, yeah, okay.
And
yup."
Gina Marie did a very fun thing. The first time I've seen this, where when Amanda left the room, Gina talked to the camera.
Yes.
To one of the cameras.
She talked to us at home.
Which is, I don't know why they don't just do that all the time. It's so
no
exciting
sense.
when they do that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm right here.
Very fun.
You know? Talk to me. I'm part of the show. And when Amanda left, Gina Marie talked to the camera and said, like, she's going up this week. I'm putting her up. Shh. She told me to shh. Which I like that. I said, okay.
Yeah, I said, I won't tell her.
But then in the actual nomination ceremony, it's always a very delicate situation because the HOH, the head of the household, in this case, Gina Marie, is putting up 2 members of the house to potentially be eliminated that week. And so you don't want, like, one of these people is going to be coming back in the house. You don't want to upset anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to deliver that speech in such a way that nobody
can be
is upset.
Yeah, that whoever comes back doesn't feel angry. They understand your reasons for doing it, and they respect it as a game move.
Yes, we talk about rhetoric and postmodernism and metafiction and all that stuff. And this is Gina Marie's nomination speech after she put Amanda and McCrae on the block. That's
and psychologically, it's very interesting the way she's manipulating them throughout it to feel like the choice was maybe not in her hands, and to feel like she's still their friend.
Here she is.
I have nominated you, Amanda, and you, McCrae, for eviction. You guys are a huge you guys are a huge dynamic. Thank you. You guys are a huge dynamic. You guys are a huge power couple. Pretty much nobody had the balls or was too chicken, no point intended, to put you guys up. McCrae, when I first met you in the first HOH competition, you had so much fire in your eyes. And I know you and Amanda made, great couple, but I feel like you lost your focus and your fire a little bit, buddy. I want you to get it back. Amanda, people think that I'm crazy in New York, but girl, you top the cake. But that's one of the reasons why I love you, okay? The veto's up for grabs. This nomination ceremony is adjourned.
Wow.
Master manipulator.
It feels like she could have just gone forever.
Oh, absolutely.
She only had so much time.
Yes, they do only give them a certain amount of time, but she was just
weaving her web,
playing them like a violin.
Talking about how they're such a
huge dynamic
power couple.
And then Judd at one point tries to screw her up. He tries to throw her off. I'm not sure where he was coming from.
Yes.
He
Judd tries to tell
something.
her that it's said that you say it some other way.
Dynamic.
Dynamic.
It's like, let her do her thing.
Yeah. And then she says, she throws her off for a second. She says dynamic, and then she's like, no, I remember what it is. It's actually dynamic. And then she decides to stop using that word altogether and just say they're a huge
power
couple, much like Master Manipulator Porky Pig. Sometimes he would, in his, spinning one of his.
Well, it's classic misdirection.
Yes,
you're looking over here while he's doing something else, and he would go, "Could you hand me that? Could you hand me that?" Writing utensil, or something like that, where he's gonna go with a different word altogether, and he wants you to be thinking about the one word at first.
Sure.
So you plants the idea of dynamic.
Yes.
And then power couple gets just slid right in there. And
this is what we say. Also, just a
no,
brief
please, yeah, go ahead.
podcasting
Yes,
note.
go ahead.
When you're searching for a specific, don't be afraid to just if you're looking for something for Porky Pig to hold, don't be afraid to just look at what's on the table and to see oh, there are some pens. I'm gonna draw something from my real world experience and use that in the bit.
And I would go a step further to say, if prior to that you were trying to think of something you'd put in your mouth other than a different food specific when you were talking about how PEDs, and you want to say chewing on a pencil because you see a pencil sticking up out of a cup in front of you. Now, we don't do that, but it's a cheat that some of you could do.
Sure.
If you needed help.
Use it all, and then it comes through in the actual podcast. It feels real.
Yeah, it feels real.
When you're talking about something you see, it feels more real.
But the really impressive thing I thought Gina Marie did was she said nobody had the balls, or they were too chicken. To go after you. And at that point,
she looks at Judd, who's wearing a chicken costume.
She does look at Judd, who's wearing a chicken costume. But I think in general, that statement is so aggressive.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, God, she's going to lose him. But then she throws it away and goes, hey, no point intended.
No point intended.
I'm rambling here.
Yeah.
No point intended. I'm just freestyling off the top of the dome.
Yeah.
And so if you want to take offense, go ahead, but I'm making this crap up.
And then there was a part at the end where she said, back home, they think she's crazy New York. But Amanda, and this is what we talk about with painting a picture. Amanda tops the cake.
She says, you top the cake. And you can really picture her on top of a cake. And I saw one person pointed out on some website said that she thinks the expression should be take the cake. But if you remember, Amanda has never taken a cake throughout this whole series.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense
to say that. So you use... No, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But if she says you top the cake, because that makes Amanda feel good. She pictures herself on a cake. Maybe she's a bride.
Sure.
You know, it could be interpreted as a proposal.
Yeah, maybe.
She might get married.
One day. We have a guest.
We do.
Her name is Cherry Chiva Pravadumrong. She's a writer-producer for The Family Man. She's an author of several books. She's on Twitter at Cherry Chiva. She's got a lot of followers. Doesn't need yours, but you should probably have her in your feed.
Yeah.
Chance on. Talking about you.
Oh man, we're never gonna get his name right. He always says we said it wrong, but he doesn't give us a phonetic.
There's someone else who's been begging for a shout out. He only posts on the forums.
He makes me not want to give it
get a
to
shout
him.
out. I'm not going to give it to him. He's got a clown avatar. I've got his name right
I know
here.
exactly.
Oh, I'm almost going to say it.
That's right.
Good. Oops. I stopped.
There's two G.
Oh,
but there's.
I stopped saying it.
There's a Y at the end, but it's.
Yeah.
Not going to say it because it's a cheap way to try to get a shout out.
That's not how we get attention on this show. So, Cherry Chiva Pravadumrong. When we come back on the reality show.
Hey guys.